Hello, my name is Shawn and I have too many books, and today I want to show you another book comparison video, this time continuing the Unfettered series with Unfettered III, edited by Shawn Speakman. I've actually got 4 editions to show you today, although only 3 of them would fit in the frame at that exact moment. But the very first one I'm going to show you is the Paperback Arc, of which there were only 500 copies made available. So there is the traditional hardcover arc with the white preliminary artwork by Todd Lockwood, but this one actually had a paperback arc as well. I don't know if the previous titles had paperback arcs. As I've mentioned plenty of times, these videos are not all-encompassing. I'm sure there are rare editions out there that I do not own. It's merely a way of me showing the editions that I do own. But, you know, when I do know of other editions, I will certainly tell you about them in the videos. So anyways, Unfettered, the very first Unfettered, if you're not familiar with it, I did do a video comparing the editions there, was the title that launched Grim Oak Press. It was to help Shawn Speakman pay for his own medical bills after he was diagnosed with cancer, and then he continued it on with Unfettered II, Unfettered III, the Unbound series, which is coming to a conclusion very soon with Unbound 3, Unavowed, and then many, many other actual novels that Grim Oak has published as well. So up first here, as I mentioned, is the paperback advanced reader copy, limited to 500 copies. It does feature the full color artwork of Todd Lockwood right on the cover. The contents are pretty much the same. It does include both Jacqueline Carey's foreword as well as Shawn Speakman's introduction. One thing that is not included is the interior illustrations by Kaitlund Zupanic. One thing you're going to see with these upcoming editions is that every single short story within it does have its own unique illustration by Kaitlund Zupanic in order to help set it apart. I mean, I haven't actually read the contents of this paperback arc. I imagine there could very well be changes between the short stories in this early format and what was eventually published, but more than likely the short stories, with the exception of perhaps a couple grammatical or formatting changes, should be the same. So just like the previous Unfettered 1 and Unfettered 2, there is also the hardcover arc, which features the black and white prelim artwork by Todd Lockwood. Although I will say the Unfettered 2 arc, I don't know if it was necessarily preliminary artwork. It was more just a cropped piece of the artwork featuring Shawn Speakman's mother. The artwork for Unfettered 3 here features a phoenix being reborn, which kind of goes with the message behind the Unfettered series of trying to help authors who are in need of financial assistance to get back on their feet so they can be the phoenixes reborn. The next 2 editions I'm showing you, this being one of them, does have your standard almost cloth-ish binding. It's not very fancy boards, but I mean, you know, they get the job done. I mean, you know, cloth/paper, whatever it is. It's not heavy-duty cloth, but it's more paper-thin cloth. This being the arc is actually signed by a bunch of different artists and authors. Kaitlund Zupanic, who did the interior illustrations, Todd Lockwood with his little dragon logo down there, Megan Lindholm, also known as Robin Hobb, double-signed it there. We also have Ramon Terrell, Jason, oh man, what's Jason's last name? Jason Devlin? I could be mistaking that. No, Jason Denzel. We also have Peter Rulian, Shawn Speakman, and Robert Swenson, I believe. So the contents of this hardcover arc are actually going to be the same as the trade edition. They do actually have the interior pieces by Kaitlund Zupanic. Actually, you know what? I didn't even check it. I believe these are the same as what made it in the trade edition, as opposed to being like preliminary artwork versions. I think the prelim was only kind of reserved for the actual cover artwork itself. The contents of the collection are very wide-ranging. I mean, they're all science fiction fantasy titles, but, you know, from all sorts of different universes, which is one of the main complaints that you're going to get with the Unfettered series, is that, well, the authors themselves were unfettered in what they could submit. I mean, they had free reign. You know, you could write a brand new story, you could bring it within an existing universe. Many of them chose to use existing universes, which can be a little intimidating for new readers. I mean, if you haven't read The Wheel of Time, then you're not going to get much out of a short story that is set in the final volume of The Wheel of Time, if you know what I mean. Up next is the exclusive trade edition that was printed for the ECCC, the Emerald City Comic-Con. There were 250 of these bad boys printed for ECCC. The exact same boards that you get from the regular trade edition. Like I said, that very thin, clothy paper. You have some silver stamping of the Unfettered logo, Unfettered III logo on the cover. You know, nothing too crazy. These are glued bindings as well, which is a bit unfortunate. The ECCC did have a exclusive cover page here. It's not actually numbered, but it does say limited 250 copies. It was signed by Shawn Speakman. The contents, of course, are the same as the trade edition. But the main one that I'm going to show you, as I'm actually flipping through the editions, is going to be this guy, which is the signed and numbered edition. I don't believe there were lettered editions for the Unfettered series. There very well could have been the rare editions, because I know a lot of the Grim Oak titles do have the rare titles, the rare editions, which are like genuine leather as opposed to the bonded leather. One thing I forgot to point out in the Unfettered 2 video is that the numbered editions for these, other than having artwork unadorned by text, this is the same artwork that would be on the regular trade edition. So you can see, you know, the green Emerald City Comic-Con, emerald colored artwork versus the regular red phoenix there. This is the same artwork that would adorn the regular trade edition, although with the text on it. One thing I did forget to mention is that the numbered editions do have a little bit of flash fiction on the inside cover here from Shawn Speakman. I mean, it's 3 paragraphs in 1 line, so, you know, I'm unfortunately spoiling this for, you know, any potential buyers. You can just pause the video and read it right there. But if you are going to shell out the extra money for solely those paragraphs, well, I mean, I don't want to put you through that. You can actually compare the 2 boards themselves here. We have the bonded leather on the left from the numbered edition versus the cloth on the right. We have the larger logo on the cover. The numbered edition does have a sewn binding as opposed to the glued binding, so it does feel a little more tight if you were to put them side by side, just because it's, well, higher quality. Also, there's ribbon marker sewn in with the binding. But the main draw of the numbered edition is, of course, going to be well, we have a frontispiece by Todd Lockwood. It's just the cover artwork. It's going to be all of those pretty little signatures from all of the contributors, with the exception, of course, being Robert Jordan, who is, well, not alive. His work was picked up by Brandon Sanderson, and Sanderson finished The Wheel of Time on his behalf. They are all actual signatures, with the exception of Naomi Novik. Hers is stamped. She has, I believe, carpal tunnel that prevents her from doing mass signings of the books. She does do in-person signings, so if you do run into a convention where Naomi Novik is attending, then you can get your copy signed in person. And the good news is, with all of the editions, before the story, you actually have a nice little introductory page for the author's name for which they could sign it. So, Kaylee Bates, you know, right there. Let me flip to Sanderson's, just because I want to confirm that the artwork is the same between this and the Arc. I know that, oh, sorry, not Sanderson's, Anderson's and Herbert. Yeah, that's the exact same that was in the Arc. Blood of the Sardaukar is, of course, one of the Dune short stories, expanding upon the Dune universe. Al-Anon's Quest is a prequel to the Sword of Shannara, or Shannara, depending how you say it. I mean, That's one of the biggest complaints that people are going to have with the stories in this collection, is that if you are not accustomed to the individual worlds of these authors, you are going to be left in the dust. It's really not going to be for you, which is always a shame, because if you're going into a collection like this, you're kind of expecting, to be welcomed or to be, brought into the fold on what you're reading. You don't want to be lost on any of the stories. Todd Lockwood here does a prologue to his second book, which is, as of yet, still unpublished. The first book was published, almost a decade ago, and the second book is still in the works. But unfortunately, I believe all of these editions are actually currently sold out, with the exception of the numbered edition. The numbered edition is still available directly through Grim Oak Press. The actual trade editions shouldn't be that expensive on the secondary market. If you were to go for the ECCC edition or the hardcover Arc with Paperback Arc, those might be pricier on the secondary market just because of their lower limitations. But the good old regular trade edition, which I don't actually have to show you in the video. That's almost to the message of having too many books, is that I do have it somewhere. I just can't find it. It's not where it should be, which is a terrible thing to happen, but unfortunately it does happen. The trade hardcover, even though it is sold out directly through Grim Oak Press, shouldn't be that expensive to find on the secondary market. It is also available as an audiobook and an ebook. Obviously, there's no limitation on either of those, which makes those the most affordable if you wanted to check this out for yourself. But as I said, only the numbered edition is currently available through Grim Oak Press's website. So yeah, those, my friends, are the many editions of Unfettered III, which I own, with the exception of the one I can't find. But that's unfortunately the nature of having too many books. Is sometimes they sometimes they get lost in the shuffle. Yeah. So if you want to check out more of these videos, I'm currently, as I'm organizing my hoard of books, recording and showcasing the various editions that I own of the various titles, which I think is pretty fun. And I bring you along for the ride as well. So please consider subscribing to the channel if you want to check those out. Be sure to check out the other videos I have on my channel, including plenty of unboxing videos, at least one book review a week, and book comparison videos such as these. Check out Grim Oak Press, link in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.